I do want y'all to check this out, and I'm gonna just play it for y'all because it's hard to understand. Watch this.
The good health care, good insurance. The research says that black women, when we do the same diets as white women, we lose less weight and we lose it slower, even when we're following the diet than our white women counterparts. And what public health practitioners think is that our stress responses in the body change our metabolism. It's literally that the racism that you're experiencing and the struggle to make ends meet actually means the diet don't work for you the same.
Okay, I got it. So, okay, I think I get what she's saying, and I feel like so you get like so say I guess so what she's saying. What I interpreted from what she's saying
Chicken
is
is racist.
no, that's not.
That's what I got.
What I got from what she's
Popeye's
saying
chicken,
that
if you eat a
is
box of
we
it,
are
it's
going through as black I'm saying as black women, they are going through struggles that uniquely affect them. This is what I'm getting from what she said. They're going through struggles that uniquely affect them. So is raising their stress level, having to deal with these unique struggles, and those increased stress levels in their bodies is not allowing them to get the same results from white women who are not facing these struggles and dealing with stress. Now, I don't know about the science behind that.
Well, I'm still stuck about what you said because I'm like, didn't she blame racism on part of the?
Yeah, she's saying the racism that she experiences throughout life is causing stress on her.
Okay,
Hold on, but wait, we did make sure we understand her argument. She's saying the racism that she experiences causes stress. And then that stress changes her body hormones, which does not allow her to get the same results from diet.
But back up 1 second. Let's back up.
That's not saying chicken is racist.
No. Oh, I'm sure that we can make Popeye's chicken racist. Real quick question.
But go ahead.
How many times on an average day do you experience racism?
That's a good question. I say me, it's kind of like two sides. You got to be out there looking for it because you can be out there.
Well, if you go out there looking for it, then you can find anything.
You bumped into me, or you cut in front of me, or you did it because I'm black, or sometimes some people be out there looking.
So
for
I guess how many times throughout? Okay, I feel like a day is too short. Say in a week. How many times in a week do you legitimately feel like somebody did something to you
that's racism
that you would say it was because I was black?
I give it a month.
Yeah.
I would.
Okay, how many times in a month do you think that you experience?
But I think it
Just
falls along
on your own personal feeling, not necessarily what anybody else would say. Just you. How many times in a month have you felt something happened because you were black?
I'd probably say one.
Maybe once.
Yeah, like
I would have to go. Honestly, I would have to go back to 2004. Me and Jackie was pulling into a Walgreens, and this white dude in the car pulling out. And as he was pulling out, we kind of blocked up on the street. We was on 103rd, blocked up on the street, and I'm waiting for him to finish pulling out. There's traffic going by both ways. He had his window down, and he was like, "Yo," and I was like, "You dumb mother, get that guy out of the way." But it was funny to me because I hadn't heard it in so long. But again, it's like it just bounced off me. I'm from the South, so it's like I'm in Georgia where I experienced real racism, like real family threats type shit. Then this is from the sheriff. This is going back to like 1979. This is how far back we have to go.
Go into the mic a little more.
But this is how far back that we have to go for me to sit here and talk about experiencing racism, like real racism. So when I see people nowadays that sit there like, oh, this is racist, dude, racist. Like, no, these people probably don't like you for the same reason that I don't like you. Is because you don't know how to conduct yourself and you irritate me. So you might think that's racism, but in actuality, it's a personality problem. I don't think today, with the way society is and the way we intermingle, and I was like, I remember when I got here, I wound up going to a Catholic school. Oh, white. I was the only black boy in the 8th grade class. That's how white it was. But it was that whole, I was never uncomfortable with anything. It's like I never felt any different. They never brought it up. I never brought it up. But it's this mindset that for whatever reason black people have, and I honestly think it's because it's that they lack some type of self-awareness. There's some type of confidence that they don't have about themselves, that racism is the next best thing to fall back on.
Wait, but we're talking about not just how I felt in a moment. Oh, I felt it because we're talking about some real racist moment where
Right.
probably
Well,
a couple of years. I changed my answer. Probably a couple of years.
I
yeah.
think it's everything. Experiences are all relative.
Yeah. It just,
So I think it is what you. How would you possibly know if somebody did something outside of
Putting the
being
cost on
able?
you.
No. We don't have to go to that level of extreme thing. It could. I'm saying my thing is, how would you know the motive behind what somebody did was based on you being black or whatever other reason? Like, how would you possibly know what that reason is?
Yeah, I don't
Versus
think you
like,
would.
you
But
know,
not unless
if-
they come flat out and say it.
Right. So that's my point. So it's just like if you walking down the street and, you know, or you say you going into a business and you hold the door open for somebody, say a white or older white lady, you hold it open for an older white lady and she doesn't say anything to you, don't even look you in the face, just walk straight past you. How do you know on either side of the coin? How do you know if that older white lady completely ignored you and didn't acknowledge you because you're black, or because she had a bad day, or because she is not all there together, or maybe she's just a bitter old lady who just don't like nobody?
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah,
like
but I
there's
think-
really no way to
I'm gonna get on the
truly
elevator
know.
with it and
Yeah,
turn
but I
the
think you
lights
got to
out.
look at it from your experience. I think you got to look at it from your experience and what you just experienced. Because I remember going to, you know, you being a kid, you going to Chinatown, but then you been watching every aisle by the store owner kid, and you be like, oh, as a kid, I'm like, why is this little Asian boy following me in every aisle? Like, but then as you get older, oh man, I was being racially profiled to think I'm going to steal something from the store.
Look.
Like you said, in the moment, you know, you might not even notice it, or you might not even, you know, I'm not
Look,
saying
that-
that happened. I'm not saying that it happened. I'm not saying that happened at every store in Chinatown. I'm just saying, like, that's something I experienced, and I'll never forget that.
I will tell you right now, back in the day, and anybody that was coming around this age when G.I. Joes were out,
Oh,
and they had we used to go to Toys R Us, and let me tell you, they had every right to follow us around that damn stove, because niggas would come out like it was a contest on how many action figures they done stuffed in their socks. And trust me, nigga, I've almost walked out with the whole Cobra Commander outfit.
Transformers,
Right.
them Transformers.
Transformers
Power
They
Rangers.
was made out of steel. But you could easily tuck a
Oh,
G.I.
man.
Joe in your sleeve and walk out. So they weren't wrong. They just never caught us. So I was like, oh, there's a flip side to that coin.
You
When
take 'em out
people
the
be like,
package.
yeah, oh man, dude, we had a program. We had somebody that would go ask for help and act like they couldn't speak
Man.
English. There's a game that they never heard of and get people tied up the entire time. But it was a flip side to that. So from the one perspective where you don't do any of this thing, just like oh, I'm just in here minding my business and getting followed. But you don't realize is that we was in there 20 minutes prior to it, and I had their shit gone, and they was like, I knew we should have kept it out there closer. So it's like, it's a give and take. It's like, hey, you know what the game is. It's like, don't act like everybody is innocent or everything has to be racist. But in this particular clip, we talking about black females, and they're talking about what the diet is racist. They suffer racism that much to the point where it causes obesity.
Well, I don't know if again, I was just about to pivot back to that as well. I don't know from what I got from what she's saying. I hate the way that she articulated it. It was very. I had to, like I said, I had to listen to it twice to piece the puzzle together. What the hell she was trying to say, but like what I got from it was not that the diet itself is racist. What I got from it was that from her perspective, she's experiencing so much racism that it is causing stress on her body, and that stress is altering the effect of the diet. Not necessarily that the diet
She
was
would have
racist.
to-
I saw that the little caption on the bottom said, "Are diets racist?" But I don't know if that's what her premise was.
Well,
It's just
it's-
like, but it's basically saying it's food racist. Like if you
Yeah, so I
and your
don't-
counterpart,
But I don't think that was her. Like I said, I
Yeah,
don't
how
think
she-
that was her
the
premise.
stress-
I think her premise was, I'm experiencing racism so much that
I would
diets don't even
want
work.
to know her background to the point where she's experiencing racism to the degree where it's causing her to gain weight. That is
Again, like I said earlier, all of the experiences are completely subjective.
yeah,
So what we may look at, like I said, when you ask, how many times do you feel like you experience racism? And it depends on the person, whether it is factual racism or perceived racism. I think to a person who has that mindset, it doesn't matter.
well, that becomes a mental
It
issue.
definitely is,
Okay.
but I mean, I think that's a separate argument. I think the bigger the argument that was made in the video was that the racism that I experience in society is affecting me so deeply that it changes the hormones in my body. So now
Yeah.
I can't. It's harder for me to lose weight on these diets that the white women are able to lose weight on.
yeah, and not only that, you know,
But
of
I
course
think
you
that
got
has a separate
bills.
scientific.
Yeah,
thing,
you got
'cause, like,
bills. You got
I don't know if that's how that works.
trying to raise kids, trying to live on a block, trying to go to work. You know, all
Right,
that
so
stuff.
many different stresses.
So many
How do you
different
pick?
things.
How do you know which one is the one causing you not to be able to causing your body to not react? So many different stresses. Right?
Yeah, but I know we don't want to get in the realm of, you know, what exactly is that diet, but you know,
Could be the
I'll
Popeyes
leave
diet.
that alone.
But let's just assume that she's talking about a restrictive calorie, no processed food, just a traditionally healthier diet than the average American. Just assume that. Now,
I mean, I think it more than that. You know, I agree with you.
But
'Cause
you
it's more than that, because you got to be able to sleep well. You got to be able to sleeping is a very important part of a diet.
You know what
yeah,
else
but
it
I
is?
think it mostly.
Exercise.
I mean, yeah, but I feel like if we going, I mean, exercise helps, but it's still when you boil it down, it's a calorie. Creating a calorie deficit.
Yeah,
is the biggest form of it. So I think if we're discussing just what was presented in the video, I think the question would really be: is the science backed? First of all, is the science backed on stress causing your body to process food and things and calories differently than if your body wasn't under stress? I feel like that's the first question, and whatever the answer to that question is has to be followed up by: is racism the only thing in your life that you are experiencing that's causing you stress? And the answer is most likely no.
Yeah,
I'm sure you probably
definitely.
got kids that stress you out. You got bills that you may or may not be, closing up on the deadline for. You get some work that's probably stressing you out. You might be in school and they're stressing you out. There's so many things.
You might got the 12-piece box that didn't share it with nobody.
Stop that.
I mean, hey, you might,
Stop that.
but I
Stop
think
that.
it's still it's
Honey
so much
package
deeper.
falling out the bag.
It's so much deeper than just the
you got
the amount of
drumsticks under
racism
your
that you express.
pillowcase.
Stop that.
But yeah, I mean, I get it.
It just goes way deeper than just racism is causing me stress, and that stress is causing me not to to lose weight.
But I mean, again, to the point, it's just that, again, with society is that
Everything is perceived as racist.
Yeah,
Yeah.
This is where we are. And I was like, to be honest with you, I'm kind of upset because I missed the good old fashioned racism. And I was like, this new racism today, everybody is racist. Back in the day, you had some like real racists that you be like, wow,
It's hard to tell
that dude
who's the
really
actual
meant that.
racist.
Right. No, back in
No, I'm
Georgia,
talking about now.
Oh yeah,
now it's hard.
What real?
You
I'm
knew
like,
back then. It's like, oh, you knew who was a racist.
Yeah, that's what you're saying. Like, but now everything is racist, so you don't know when the real racists are
Yeah.
doing racist shit because everything is being perceived as being as
Yeah, 'cause
racist.
I talk to some of the older people at my job, and some of the stuff they tell me, they from their perspective, they look at me and look at the younger people. You think that's racism?
Yeah.
Like you don't
Dude.
you don't know not being able to come outside for 3 days because somebody's up the block wearing a hoodie on their head, and just sitting in a chair with a shotgun in their hand and ready to blast you as soon as you step outside your door, just so you as a black man won't step on the ground that he built or something like that. I don't know.
It was a time in Georgia where the Wayne Williams murders were happening, and if you're not familiar with the story, it was supposedly a black serial killer, which nobody really believed, but it was Wayne Williams. He wasn't too far from where we were in Georgia, and black kids just started disappearing. And I remember the expression on my mom's face because we was like in the middle of nowhere. So it'd have been real easy for anybody to come snatch one of us and keep it moving. But I remember like the fear factor that she had and that whole concept because it was so much of it going on. And she was like, well, we really don't know where this is coming from. This could be any crazy group of white, Southerners that just want to snatch some kids up. And shit, shit happened. But it's like, I remember those times for real. I was like, so yeah, you imagine living through that point of your life where everything that passed you by was a threat. And I'm talking about pickup trucks, school buses. It didn't matter. It was like shit, your ass could come up missing easy.
Yeah.